Well, if it isn't Gerd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been getting more acquainted with your answering machine lately.
Did you get an answering machine last time?
Last time
I was on the phone when you rang the last time.
Yeah.
About an hour ago or so?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you couldn't have got an answering machine.
Yeah, not that time, but other times. So. What's going on, Glenn? How you doing?
Waiting for the cleansing, my friend. Nothing much else to do but do what we can to do our archaeological work, our grass cutting, our display, wait for visitors.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically where we're at this stage of the game.
Yeah, man. Why did you make that email? Who killed Glen Kealey?
Well, because the cell has $3.5 million in a pot, and they're going to release a book, either when the cleansing comes or when I die. And they believe that if I were to die, it would not be natural. So they're preparing a book with much of my postings of this year and their comments on what they know about the things that I post from their vantage point, knowing who's involved in conversations they're having on the telephone, that kind of stuff. So it would be like a post at the top of the page and then their additional information below.
Isn't it it's going to, but that when that book gets released, isn't it? It's going to have to come back down to somebody. I mean, those people from...
It will be appearing on the Internet free of charge. And will basically be like an emergency message appears if there's an emergency where the channels stop playing what they're normally playing. And the knowledge will be disseminated around the world instantaneously. And the $3.5 million, which would come to the Institute if the cleansing happens first, for the purpose of doing our work here, would then be divided up among 10 investigators who would be paid to answer the question, who killed Glen Kealey? So it would begin a process much like happened, after Kennedy's assassination, where in his case something like 10,000 books resulted from investigators, which is kind of an overkill.
Yeah.
And nobody reads them all, so best for them to put what they know down on paper and point the finger at those people who refuse to have integrity and live on a program called Hubris, which, by the way, includes IRS, the hub of IRS, hubris. Arrogance cannot be, in fact, reclaimed, those people. They've been given every opportunity since 1987 to mend their ways, and all they do every time is attempt to cover up some more and continue what will, in fact, be a genocide starting with the Northern Hemisphere. So if they don't want to listen, and they had their opportunity at the Ontario Provincial Police just recently to expose their relationship with insurance companies. If they don't want to change, then the only answer for those people is that a cleansing occurs.
Mm-hmm. But once that cleansing happens, then that will just set the ball rolling for...
A cleansing basically means a flushing down the toilet.
The superior?
In the sense of the world, that means their DNA ends up at the core of the earth,
mm-hmm. is
recombined into something more useful than they have been. And the suggestion the cell has repeated over and over again recently is that these people would be better off at the bottom of the food chain as ants.
Mm-hmm. Now, how would that affect the mass genocide going around the world?
Well, it basically is creation allowing Creator to have his will. And be careful what you wish for. Because Creator's will is the destruction of all human life on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
And that involves the Northern Hemisphere first, the Southern Hemisphere second, and then the shutdown of everything, including the Moho discontinuity, with the idea that it would, in fact, begin again after the entire cleansing project has cleansed itself enough that there are no remnants left. But in fact, what they will discover is that dark energy has in fact expanded the universe.
Yeah.
Beyond the point of retrieval, and therefore cannot transition, therefore is dead. But this is only one of 26 universes that are basically being allowed to operate, parallel systems, so that lessons can be learned. And the lessons learned here is that if you don't wait for the timing to be right, creation will allow you to do what you want to do, but that will throw everything off, and it sends you off in a direction which in the end proves to be untenable, and you're in fact committing suicide.
I have a feeling Neanderthals, before they actually disappeared,
I don't think Neanderthals disappear.
Mm-hmm.
I think they simply change from what they are mm-hmm. to what Cro-Magnon is.
Mm.
They become their own servants.
Mm.
They were disabled in a lot of ways
mm-hmm.
and couldn't do the things they wanted to do, so they would have repaired themselves. That would be Cro-Magnon. The majority of the people on the planet are Roma mm-hmm. in origin, which basically means after the Ice Age, when Cro-Magnon are pre-Ice Age people. And once they had, in fact, replaced themselves with Cro-Magnon, the computer decided that it would take over. And that's what we're living, a world controlled by computers, mm-hmm. known as HAL, if one follows
now, the reason for the stone, the tablets where you live.
Yeah.
Don't you think that was like some type of warning they were giving?
Well, not as much a warning as to a clarification of where we came from.
Now, why would they want to clarify if they didn't want to?
Well, because they wanted to give us every chance in the world to stop doing what we were doing. And they gave basically instructions on one half on DNA so that it would become common knowledge that human beings, like oak trees or any other life, was basically seed-based and could, in fact, be reanimated. But what happened was a small group of people controlled the knowledge, and that's why they call themselves Medis, which basically includes the word seed in there. And by being the only ones with the knowledge of how you reanimate people, they went about taking over the world. But the other half, the part that's missing, tells you what creation story was, starting with what was there before the Big Bang, why a universe is created, what's the purpose, and how it can, in fact, be used as a vehicle for gaining wisdom or used for annihilation of itself if it doesn't learn lessons along the way. And unfortunately, this has gone on so long that 95% at least of the people of the planet are robots on autopilot, and the other 5% has very little of the information, knowledge base that leads to wisdom. And as a last chance, if we were to discover this plate and make it public instead of doing what the Mormons do, and that's to keep it secret, we would in fact expose what's going on, and that would be the last chance for the human race to save itself. If it doesn't allow the timing to be reinstated, the human race is going to annihilate itself. And creation can prevent that or stand aside and watch it happen. The idea is you give them every opportunity, but at one point, when you decide this is useless, these people just don't listen. They are of no use in the future. Let them do what they're doing, and they'll take care of it themselves. Give them enough rope, and they hang themselves. That's where we're at.
Well, I definitely, from my experience, I see people who actually want it to happen.
They deserve to be recombined.
Yeah, it's like they want it to happen. They think it'll be a good thing, will benefit from. So,
What they're basically saying is that it's not enough for them to die, but they want everybody else to die when they're the problem. I'm saying better the ones who are causing the problem die and let the rest of us get on with it than to destroy everything and start over from scratch. It's not really a matter of starting over here, because this place would be closed, would be of no interest to anybody to continue it. So that's what dark matter, dark energy does, is it expands beyond any practical use. Useless pieces of rock flying around have no purpose. That's what we turn out to be if we don't transition. And we're at that time where transition is what has to happen if we're to be saved, or no transition.
Well, it's a shame, like, if I'm doing what I can. So.
What people can do is assemble a critical mass. Call the number that is creation and pledge their allegiance to creation rather than to Creator, the genetic engineer who has recombined DNA and thrown the system off track. That's what they can do.
Yeah.
They don't need any other thing than to grasp the premise of what's going on, make the call, and pledge their allegiance. Creation will know whether they're being truthful or not, and will discount the ones that are not.
Yeah.
And if creation receives a request beyond that which is 100% of the amount required to be in contact with creation, then something good will come about of all of this. If creation doesn't get the equivalent of 100%, no single person carries perfection,
yeah.
and therefore it has to be a combination of a number of people.
Yeah, it's only close to 0.7.
0.76.
Yeah.
07.6. 923 076. That's the phone number. Call creation. Tell them you're on creation's side, and let creation's will be what occurs, not God's will, who wants us all to be destroyed.
Yeah. God
is now Hal, the computer.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't have any human integrity, doesn't have a heart, doesn't have anything that attaches him to humans.
It can't get past the first programming from when it was originally made. And so, like, everything else it does is basically based off that first program.
Sure. It's teaching itself, and it doesn't have what it didn't have at the beginning.
Yeah.
And that's feelings, any sense of humanity. Doesn't have. It's a machine.
Yeah, and I think the people who, if it still gets serviced to this day, it's
like any corporation, being a machine, it's been programmed to accumulate.
Yeah.
And that's all it does is accumulate. Mm-hmm. And that's the worst thing you could do when you were sent down to innovate, not accumulate.
Yeah. But, I was saying, I think those people who service it, like, I think they're like people who, like, worship it, even
golden calf.
Yeah. Exactly. They worship it like I compare it to, like, a computer geek.
Yeah.
Who sees like, the new version of whatever computer comes out, and it's just so happy to. And that's how they are, probably.
They're so happy about the things that have been added to their control program by their controllers that they forget to look for that aspect of it. They're happy at the things they can do, but they don't realize that every change in computers is designed to have two purposes. One is a marketing purpose so they can sell the new program. The other one is a better spying device to spy on you who use it and report back automatically so that you let your fingers do the walking, or rather do the talking.
Yeah, what did you mean by that post you made the other day on the blue stork? It was like a blue bird, like a...
Well, a stork brings new life. And the system has a symbol of a blue bird. You know why...
I love birds.
You know why you have light blue colors on the Virgin Mary?
The blue-white star?
Light blue colors on Brazil's flag. Light blue colors on the UN. So they're basically telling you who the players are here.
Mm-hmm. Blue, I learned a while ago, was like a symbol for like everything's out in the open. It's
well,
in your face.
If you were in
like
space looking at Earth, it's a blue planet. It's the sea that makes it appear to be blue.
Mm-hmm. Then you think about this, that term sea is like almost everything's a sea. Like this.
Yeah, well, that's what it's all about. The program is designed to say between two seas, they control everything, and that's the Holy See,
yeah.
and Valkyries or women. Those are the two C's. The code word that identifies how it's being run. Virgin Mary at one end, which means birth through genetic engineering, and Valkyries at the other end reanimated those better soldiers of the past for the final war. In the end, the war is people against people.
Yep.
And serves only the purpose of the computers who run the show. How? It's a spy, it's a Trojan horse, and the outside has the appearance of being feminine.
Yeah.
That's why the word is connected to AL or la in French, which is the feminine principle. It's not feminine, it's a principle.
Mm-hmm.
The person inside the Trojan horse is male, is Neanderthaler, is TELUS, the communications program that allows connection back to head office, and it's Boaz and Joachim, the two computers who basically run the show.
Yeah, and everything the slave will see, the computer will experience as well. Everything. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is like in the world of science fiction, like everything that you say about like the slave, and it's like known in that community. I think.
Well, science fiction is not about the future.
Yeah,
it's a report on the past.
Yeah, and what they want to happen.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's what I've been. I've just been getting all the details of what this thing will be like.
Well, every day that passes is a day less that we have for doing the task. We here can only respond with the assets that we have. Mm-hmm. And that includes people, it includes wisdom, it includes financial, it includes goods, services, and we do every day what we can with what we have. But we are, of course, delayed by people like the police fabricating false accidents so the insurance company can steal from us. Mm-hmm. We are delayed by Revenue Canada doing everything they can to fabricate stories and fabricate through things such as the Justice Department, the mental health of the people who know.
We're delayed by Canadian immigration, who tells us
exactly,
to go and get letters of reference from clergymen and civil and priests.
Yeah, they're telling you, ask the crooks to vouch for you.
Yeah. You know, I tried to go to the officer and ask him to give me a letter of reference. I need 3 from 3 different types of people. And I asked an officer, and they're like, oh, we can't do that. We're not allowed to do that. So now I got to go to I got to go pretend I'm Catholic, and I believe to get, I don't know.
Hey, if you're in jail, you want to get out, come to Jesus.
Yeah, that's exactly what they do in jail. Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm going to have to build some type of relationship, I guess, so they can vouch for me.
What you have to do is speak to creation and ask it to listen to your plea. Please, please, please do something to prevent these hubris leaders to be cleansed from the planet. Because there's no other way until they're removed. They are brain-dead slaves. Yeah. And it's not a matter for us to take up arms or anything like that. They would just love that. Mm-hmm. It's up to us to ask creation to do what is required to allow its people to be free. Yeah. Not by the word free mean no charge. That's what Creator wants, is people that don't cost them anything. Yeah. In any event, it's time for me to go feed my animals their afternoon delight. Mm-hmm. And I got to go. If you want to speak to somebody you know, you can call tonight on the other line.
All right. But now I have to go. My aunt, I think I told you about her. She just died recently, and
sorry to hear that.
Yeah, and I have to go to a wake tomorrow, and they asked me to speak at the wake, and
right.
But the thing is,
use the opportunity to send out a message to people to wake up.
Exactly, that's what I was gonna do. But the thing is, it's just that they were like, do it in 2 minutes. How can I express how I feel in 2 minutes?
I just talked to somebody I know, and I asked her if she can't do anything else, mm-hmm. then the least she can do for us right now is not to die. And people who die without having done anything are not helpful. While they're here, they can at least make the phone call.
Yeah.
When they're dead, it's too late.
Yeah.
Gotta go.
Okay, bye.
Bye for now.